You were not born to quit. You were not created to collapse. You were not designed to live in defeat. You were sent to earth to solve a problem. And that problem will not solve itself. You must push yourself and make it work. Let me ask you a question. What if everything God placed inside you is waiting for you to stop waiting? Too many people are waiting for things to change while God is waiting for them to move. God never gave you a chair, He gave you a tree. He never gave you a table, He gave you raw material. In the kingdom, God supplies potential. You must supply the push. There's a parable in Matthew 25. A master gives talents to his servants. One multiplied, one doubled, one hid his. The only difference was not in what they received, but in what they did with what they had. You don't need more. You need to move with what's already in your hand. You have untapped potential, dormant ideas, buried gifts, not because you lack purpose, but because you lack pressure. Write this down. Nothing grows without pressure. Nothing manifests without motion. Nothing works unless you work it. God finished you before He formed you. That means you're not here to figure out who you are. You're here to become who you already are. But it won't happen by accident. It happens by action. You must push yourself and make it work. Let me tell you something many people never realize. God will never give you what you ask for. He gives you what you can manage. And until your mind is ready, until your vision is clear, He'll hold back the very things you're begging Him to release. Provision is not a miracle. It's a response. And it doesn't answer to desperation, it answers to clarity. Heaven doesn't invest in confusion. Until you can define it, God won't deliver it. You're asking for funding, but you haven't drawn the blueprint. You're crying out for a door, but you haven't even chosen the hallway. Vision is not ambition. Vision is precision. It's not a wish list. It's a working document. A man with vision doesn't need applause. A woman with vision doesn't chase comparison. Because vision doesn't entertain feelings, it executes decisions. You see, God told Abraham, look, as far as your eyes can see, I will give it to you. Not as far as you can dream, not as far as you can cry, but as far as you can see. Meaning your limits are not God's limits, they're your vision's limits. When you don't know where you're going, anything becomes a distraction. But when you carry vision, you become dangerous. You stop looking for approval. You stop waiting for open doors. You build your own. Because vision gives you focus, and focus produces results. Let me break this down for our communities. We're not lacking intelligence. We're not lacking talent. We're overflowing with gifts, but we are starving for vision. We celebrate survival while ignoring strategy. We love events, but reject structure. We shout over destiny, but refuse discipline. We must stop teaching our children how to get by and start teaching them how to build. It's not enough to graduate. Do you know where you're going? It's not enough to be employed. Do you understand your assignment? Because if you don't see beyond your situation, you will become a slave to it. And don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're building. A hamster in a wheel runs hard, but it ends up in the same place. That's what life becomes without vision, motion without advancement. So what is your vision? What are you seeing? Not what you want, but what you've planned. If you died tonight, Would the earth have anything written down about the thing God whispered into your spirit 10 years ago? Or did you bury it beneath excuses, fear, and comfort? Clarity is currency in the kingdom. Vague dreams produce vague results, but a clear vision attracts people, power, and provision. Heaven is not waiting on your emotion. It's waiting on your execution. The soil is ready, the seed is in your hand, the rain is coming. But if you don't plant, nothing grows. And that's not a crisis of faith, that's a crisis of vision. Let this settle in your spirit. God doesn't fund potential, He funds precision. So today, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop begging for what you haven't prepared for. Draw the plan, write the vision, speak the end from the beginning. Push yourself and make it work. Let me tell you something. The enemy doesn't want you to understand the kingdom does not respond to emotion. It responds to motion. You can cry all night, fast all week, speak in tongues until your voice is gone, but if you don't move, nothing moves for you. Heaven respects obedience, not excuses. The reason many people are still stuck is not because God forgot them, it's because they never took the step. Faith is not believing God can do it. Faith is walking like He's already done it. Because in the kingdom, nothing changes until you move. God gave you legs to stand, not to settle. He gave you hands to build, not to beg. You keep waiting for a breakthrough, but breakthroughs don't come to the still. They come to the moving. You want a door to open, but you haven't knocked. You want favor, but you haven't stepped into the field. The Red Sea didn't split until feet touched water. The walls of Jericho didn't fall until the people marched. The oil in the widow's jar didn't multiply until she started pouring. The power was already there, but it was motion that activated it. And let's talk plainly. Some of us are hiding behind prayer, using spirituality as a delay mechanism. I'm just waiting on confirmation. You don't need confirmation for what God already made clear. You need courage. Some of the most powerful things you'll ever walk into won't feel safe, won't look guaranteed, and won't come with a round of applause. But they will come after the first step. And this message isn't just personal, it's communal. We keep marching in circles, blaming the system, blaming the government, blaming the past. But God never called us to be victims of culture. He called us to build culture. We cannot transform what we keep tolerating. There comes a point where we must stop organizing protests and start organizing plans. We must stop making noise and start making moves. Every generation is pregnant with possibilities, but most miscarry because they refuse to push. Push in the classroom, push in the marketplace, push in the home, push in the neighborhood. Talk is cheap, motion is power. You were not designed to live on pause. The Spirit of God doesn't hover over laziness. He hovers over creation. He moves with movers. The reason many doors haven't opened is because you haven't walked toward them. Doors don't open to the hesitant, they open to the bold. You don't need a miracle, you need momentum. So stop rehearsing the plan and start walking in it. There is no progress without pressure, no advancement without action, no transformation without traction. You've prayed, you've dreamed, you've hoped. Now move. Push yourself and make it work. Let me say this clearly. Pain is not your enemy. Confusion is. Because if you don't understand pain, you will resist the very process meant to build you. You will mislabel growth as punishment. You will call stretching an attack. You'll rebuke what you should be learning from. But pain, when seen through the eyes of purpose, becomes a tool, not a threat. Nothing that grows does so in comfort. A seed does not transform in sunlight. It transforms in darkness, in pressure, in silence. No one claps for the seed. No one sees the battle underground. But that breaking, that tearing, that discomfort is what gives birth to strength. Let me be real with you. You will never discover what you're truly made of until life hurts. You'll never know what's inside of you until you've been pushed, stretched, bent, and shaken. And if you keep running from pain, you'll keep postponing your development. God doesn't test you to expose your weakness. He tests you to reveal your capacity. There are some breakthroughs that will never come through praise, but through pain. Some of the most powerful leaders are not the loudest. They are the ones who've been through hell and refused to stay there. They got betrayed and didn't get bitter. They lost everything and kept bullying. They cried, but they kept moving. You see, we live in a generation that wants results without resistance. We want strength without struggle. We want greatness, but we don't want the grinding. That's not how heaven operates. God develops character in the fire, not on the stage. Look around our communities. Look at the stories we don't celebrate enough. The single mothers who raised champions while carrying pain silently. The fathers who never had a father but chose to stay and break the cycle. The young minds who escaped the grip of poverty and turned trauma into transformation. That's power, not pain. That's grace in motion. Let me tell you something personal. If you're in pain right now, you're in a sacred place. You are being redefined, reshaped, refined. Don't curse the furnace. It's where gold is made. Don't resent the burden. It's where strength is born. You're asking God to take the pressure away, but maybe God is using the pressure to push something out of you. Some things will never emerge until you're uncomfortable. Some call it suffering. Heaven calls it stretching. So here's what you do. Stop asking, why me? And start declaring, this will make me. Stand in it. Learn in it. Grow through it. And when you come out, because you will come out, you won't just be stronger. You'll be wiser, deeper, and ready to carry what you once prayed for. This pain is not your prison, it's your passage. Push yourself and make it work. Let me tell you what many never want to hear. Desire is not enough. You can desire success, desire transformation, desire to rise above where you are, but if your life is only driven by desire, you will collapse the moment the feeling disappears. Because desire is emotional, but discipline is spiritual. Discipline is what you do after the motivation is gone. It's the decision you make after the music stops, after the conference ends, after the applause fades. And let me warn you, the world will celebrate your potential, but heaven rewards your consistency. We live in a generation that is high on inspiration but low on instruction. We have people who can post success quotes all day but can't wake up early enough to build the life they tweet about. We've confused inspiration with execution. But inspiration won't build a business. Motivation won't restore a family. Emotion will never conquer laziness. Only discipline will. If you think because it feels hard, you're doing something wrong. No, it feels hard because you're finally doing something that counts. Greatness doesn't come with comfort, it comes with commitment. You don't train in the ring. You train before the fight ever begins. The champion is not made under the lights. He's made in silence. He's made in the dark when no one is watching, when the body says stop and the spirit says no. That's discipline. Let me say this to the community. We cannot build strong families, businesses, or nations on feelings. Feelings change with the weather. Discipline anchors a generation. Our young people don't just need passion, they need patterns. They need to see that it's not how loud you shout, it's how long you show up. It's not how deep you feel, it's how faithfully you follow through. Our problem isn't potential, it's the lack of mastery. And mastery only comes from repetition, not in public, but in private. While others sleep, you study. While others party, you plan. While others coast, you climb. That's the price of distinction. Stop chasing ease. Start embracing structure. Discipline is the difference between people who dream and people who deliver. It is the bridge between where you are and where you were meant to be. If you want to see change, don't trust your feelings, trust your habits. Build what outlasts the emotion. Train your soul to obey, even when your body resists. That's kingdom maturity. Because if you don't master yourself, you will always be mastered by something else, whether it's laziness, distraction, addiction, or fear. So stop waiting to feel it. Wake up and do it anyway. Choose the standard. Lock into the structure. Stay loyal to the assignment. Push yourself and make it work. Let me say something that will shift your thinking. What you're calling a problem may actually be your promotion. Because in the kingdom, obstacles are often wrapped in opportunity. The things you're trying to escape might be the very thing God is using to elevate you. What you call an attack, heaven might be calling a setup. You keep praying for open doors, but sometimes the door is disguised as disappointment. The job you lost, the people who walked away, the betrayal you didn't expect. Those weren't just moments of pain. They were divine reroutes, because if you never faced the storm, you would have never discovered the anchor. If you never got uncomfortable, you would have stayed where it was safe and stagnant. Let me ask you something. What if the thing you're trying to run from is the very thing designed to unlock the next dimension of your life? Some doors don't come with golden handles. Some come shaped like conflict. Some come through confrontation. Some come wrapped in frustration. But they're still doors. You see, problems are not interruptions. They are invitations. Invitations to grow, to think, to lead, to rise. A problem is a signal that something new must be built. And hear me, you were born to build. Not complain, not retreat, not blend in. You were wired to find solutions in chaos. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you necessary. The world does not need more critics, it needs more creators. In our communities, we have enough voices talking about what's wrong. We need voices that will create what's right. Don't curse the broken systems, fix them. Don't just mourn injustice, organize answers. Don't just cry over the pain, convert it into strategy. Let's be real. The enemy doesn't fear your dreams, he fears your movement. And most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they misread the moment. They thought the problem meant God left them. But no, the problem was proof that God was trusting them. Trusting them with a challenge no one else could carry. Joseph didn't meet the king through comfort. He met him through crisis. Esther didn't rise from beauty. She rose in the face of genocide. David didn't ascend with silence. He stepped into the roar of the battlefield. Stop running from what's hard. What's hard is heavy, but it's also heaven sent. So here's the truth. Problems are not to destroy you. They are there to reveal you, to show you what's inside you, to push out the creativity, the resilience, the insight, the leadership that comfort tried to bury. From now on, don't just solve problems. Study them. Because inside that chaos is your next calling. Inside that difficulty is the seed of your destiny. So stop cursing the crisis. Walk through it. Learn from it. Build in it. Push yourself and make it work. Let me declare something that will shake your theology if you're not ready. Heaven is not waiting to move. Heaven is waiting on you. You see, we've been trained to sit and wait, to pray and pause, to beg and hope. But in the kingdom, movement on earth activates motion in heaven. God responds not just to prayer, He responds to obedience, to action, to initiative. He said, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. That doesn't start in heaven, it starts here. That means if you don't do it, God won't. This isn't about ability, it's about agreement. Until your actions align with heaven's intention, nothing will shift. We love to say God is in control, but He gave you dominion. Control is not the same as responsibility. He gave you the keys, and keys don't open doors unless you use them. Some of you are praying for God to show up in areas you've made no room for. You want financial breakthrough, but you've never created a budget. You want marriage restoration, but you won't humble yourself. You want open doors, but you're afraid to knock. God does not bless inactivity. He blesses alignment. We treat faith like magic, but faith is not passive. Faith is movement. Faith builds the ark before the rain. Faith steps into the river before the water parts. Faith applies for the land before the funds show up. Faith initiates what fear tells you to postpone. In our communities, we cannot keep blaming heaven for things we've been commanded to change. We cry out for healing while holding on to hate. We want revival, but we won't reconcile. We want transformation, but despise discipline. If we want God to move, we must first move ourselves in mindset, in stewardship, in sacrifice. Your future is not locked. It's waiting. Waiting for you to shift, to build, to release, to decide. God has already spoken. Now He's watching. Watching what you'll do with what He's already said. There are things in your life that won't manifest until you initiate. Miracles don't chase the lazy. Provision doesn't chase procrastination. Breakthrough doesn't visit the idle. There must be motion. Intentional, strategic, courageous motion. Some things won't happen because you're not praying hard enough, but because you're not acting bold enough. Heaven is fully resourced, fully ready, fully invested in your future. But the door only swings open when the handle is turned from your side. So ask yourself, what have you been waiting on God to do that He's been waiting on you to start? You don't need more confirmation. You don't need another prophecy. You need movement. Push yourself and make it work. So here we are. You've heard the message, not just with your ears, But in your spirit, you've felt the pull, the pressure, the push, and now you must choose. No more waiting for the right moment. This is the moment. No more rehearsing reasons. This is the season. No more hiding behind fear, fatigue, or frustration. This is your time to rise. Because the truth is, nothing changes until you do. Nothing grows until you stretch. Nothing moves until you push. So push past your comfort. Push past your excuses. Push past what they said, what they didn't say, what you lost, what you lack, what you feared. Push past every delay, distraction, and disappointment. And make it work. Not for applause, not for attention, but because greatness is in your bones. And the world is waiting for what you carry. We don't need more wishes. We need more warriors, builders, visionaries, men and women who don't just dream, but deliver. And that starts with you. So go out there and move with intention, build with courage, live with conviction, and when the pressure hits, remember, it's not here to break you. It's here to birth you. Push yourself and make it work. Good luck on your journey. And from the depth of my heart, thank you for listening, for leaning in, and for choosing to live beyond limits. Your future is not ahead of you, it's already inside you. Your future is not ahead of you, it's already inside. Now, go unlock it.